Okay, well, it's been a while since I did a video driving in my Viper, and the reason I'm doing one right now is I just picked my Viper back up from Mark Lieberman's Nostalgic Motoring. Earlier this year, I noticed they had some issues with the battery, and I had no idea how old the battery was because the battery is the one that came with the car. So I bought the car back in 2020, so the battery's at least 5 years old. So the battery is hidden behind the rear wheel on the driver's side. And so I told Mark, hey Mark, you gotta come, take care of my car for me. It needs a battery and it can probably use a whole bunch of other stuff also. So I said, bring it in, have your guys look it over top to bottom, everything possible to do on that car you can. I want you to do it. So put a new battery into it, discovered the old battery was probably 7 or 8 years old, which is about the life you expect out of a battery. Oil change, oil filter, air filter, fluids, antifreeze, all that stuff. And then I also had I said, have your guys go over this thing with a fine-tooth comb. Anything you see that you think is a problem, please let me know and we'll take care of it. And his mechanic said, Steve, how's that clutch feeling for you? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I can drive it. So that wasn't the question. And so Mark's got a really good mechanic named Oren who had gotten into the car to move it. And he goes, dude, that clutch is not good. Clutch needs some work. So I said, well, do what you got to do. So clutch, pressure plate, throw bearing, master cylinder for the clutch, all that stuff. So the clutch is good. The clutch is amazing. It's gone from being a clutch that barely worked to a clutch that feels brand new. And so it's going to actually take me a little bit to get used to this. And all of you guys who drive manuals on a regular, amount, you'll know that this is one of those things where you get used to a particular vehicle and how its clutch works. And so, I've got a standard shift in my other Jeep, my Jeep Wrangler, and that's got its own issues, foibles. But I mean, I can drive it. It runs great for me. But this one, like I said, I don't drive the Viper all that often. So when I get into it, I recalibrate myself and I get used to how it drives. But and then Mark, after doing all that work, had one of his guys detail it for me, so it's nice and clean inside and out. And on a bittersweet note, I'm going to take this home and I'm going to stick it in the garage and cover it, put a trickle charger on it, and probably not drive it until next year. We'll see the weather. It's a beautiful day today. I'm guessing it's about 45, 50 degrees outside, but we got Thanksgiving coming up, and so probably don't have a lot of good driving weather anyway at this point, so it very well could get parked for the rest of the year. The Cobra has been put away for about a month now because it's so cold out. This you can drive in cooler weather. Don't want to drive it in the rain or the snow, obviously, but if it's like this, why not take it out for a drive? So it's not that hard to uncover it, pull it out of the garage. In fact, to cover it, if you got someone helping you with the cover, it only takes 5 minutes to cover it or uncover it, so it's no big deal. So it's nice to get back behind the wheel of this thing. It's been a little while, and it is very nice. And for those of you who are following along at home and have been doing the math on this, the Viper currently has 10,800 miles on it. I'm probably going to cross 10,009 on the drive home from Mark's place. But the funny part is I bought this Viper with 4,000 miles on it from the original owner. And he had it for 21 years. So you can do the math on how many miles he put on it. Each year he had it. It was not many. But he took very, very good care of it for me. Which is always the joke about you buy a brand new car, you put it in storage, you look at it once in a while, you drive it very rarely, and you're keeping it in that condition, and you're just going to end up selling it anyway, so what's the difference? But, some people like that. I believe cars should be driven. So, in the summertime, if I got nice weather out, I'll take one or the other car for a drive. This past summer, I drove the Cobra more than the Viper, primarily because Cobra's newer, and if I had nice weather, I could drive it, I drove it. So did that. But I love both these cars. I've actually had people say, Steve, of those two cars, you know, which do you like better? And I always say, well, it's probably a lot like asking you who your favorite child is. Or, you know, I had two dogs, which was my favorite dog. I mean, it's not an appropriate question to be answered. They both have pros and cons, and they're both interesting for different reasons. I've mentioned before that this Viper has been driven so little that the entire time I've owned it, it's only been in the rain one time for about 5 minutes. It sprinkled on me driving home from a car show one time. And the reason that we know that that is largely true is that inside the wheel wells, there are stickers, paper stickers, that were placed there on the assembly line by workers who were signing off on different aspects of the build. And there are at least 2 of those stickers still on the car. One of the stickers I peeled off myself and saved because I thought, what are the odds that these things are going to stick around for me? And here I am 5 years later, and 2 of the other ones are still there. I was at a car show and a guy came up to me and goes, Steve, I built that car. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, I worked at the plant where the Vipers were built, and I was there in '99. And I said, oh, okay. And I said, come take a look at this. And I pointed at the stickers, like, I've never seen those outside of the factory. You don't buy a car, at least not in my world, to just look at it. And I know people talk about, like, well, what's the car worth? You know, is the car an investment or that kind of thing? And, you know, there are people out there who buy and sell cars to flip them. There's people out there who watch auctions and stuff. And a lot of people, like me, however, simply look at it and go, do you like the car? Is the car fun to drive? And if it is, there you go. And it's like anything else. You know, if you watch Antiques Roadshow, for instance, somebody who's got some rare old antique and it used to be worth it, but the price dropped. And it's like, were you planning on selling it? Like, other than for insurance purposes, why would you care? And that's really the point, you know, is that if you like it, you enjoy it, who cares? So, you know, I've met people before who just don't like Vipers or don't like Cobras or whatever, and it's like, I'm not telling you got to buy one. No one's making you buy one. It's something, if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I know people who don't like cars, you know. I was talking to somebody the other day who said they don't own a car, they've never owned a car, and I'm like, what? Explain that to me. But, you know, it's one of those things. If you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. So, in many respects, a car is just a tool. It's a utility. It's something you use, point A to point B. But I grew up in Detroit. And in Detroit, we've always believed our cars were a little bit more than that. And our cars are, you know, symbols of all kinds of other stuff. I've talked about this before. First time I got a car when I was in high school, 69 Dodge Charger, the 383, paid $300 for it. And that car was a lot of fun to own, but the primary thing that I remember about it was that it gave me freedom. I could jump in my car and go someplace. I could call up my friends and go, hey, let's go do something. And I had friends who lived, you know, a few miles away. And before we had cars, it was like, oh, let's all jump on our bicycles and go to the movie or something, you know? No, now it's like, hey, let's go cruising. So I will likewise tell you that if I had this car when I was a young man, I wouldn't have lived to be an older man. I'm not old yet, but I'm older. And luckily, I got a lot of the thrill-seeking out of my system a long time ago. So, you know, occasionally I'll step on it a little bit, but I mean, I haven't had a speeding ticket in 11 years, something like that. No, 14 years. 14 years since I had a speeding ticket. So, you know, when I was younger, I got a ticket or two along the way, but not anymore. I'm happy just to drive around and enjoy the handling and so on, and know that if I had to, if push came to shove, I could drive faster if I wanted to. I just don't want to right now. So, but yeah, it's November. This week upcoming is Thanksgiving. So I'm not sure if I'll post this the Friday after Thanksgiving. I might post it early as a holiday special kind of thing. Got a roundabout here that again is confusing somebody. And still getting used to that clutch, sorry. Actually, I just realized that the vibration reduction in the camera will probably resolve that. So I shouldn't narc myself out. But yeah, I love this car. This car's a lot of fun to drive. But yeah, it's 10,888 miles. And the interesting thing is, I bought it with 4,000. And the first summer I had it, I think I ran it up to 8 or 9. And then I remember I shot footage of it when it rolled over to 10, because I thought that was a pretty big moment. And for those of you who haven't been around my channel as long, I started my channel in 2014. So technically last year was the 10th anniversary of me posting videos on YouTube of any sort. And I bought the Viper at the front end of COVID. There was a time during COVID where people weren't sure what was going to happen with the economy. Were car prices going to go up or down? Were real estate prices going to go up or down? And the weird thing is that real estate prices, as you might recall, at one point during COVID skyrocketed. And I know people were trying to buy homes who couldn't find homes because they'd go out and see a house and put in an offer immediately for asking price, and they were told, oh, somebody's already outbid you. And so, not knowing what's happening, I remember at the beginning of COVID, very, very beginning, I told Mark, probably, think of COVID starting, like when we became aware of it for the first time of severity, was March or April of 2020. And so I remember calling up Mark and saying, hey, Mark, I've always wanted to own a Viper. How much do you think it would cost me right now? And he said, well, the market right now is not bad. He goes, I don't know what's going to happen with COVID, but as of right now, we're doing okay. And I said, oh, okay. He goes, what kind of budget you looking at? And I told him. And then he said, what type of car, color, which generation? I said, I want a second generation with a hardtop. I said, I want a red one if you can find me one, and preferably no stripe. But quite frankly, I said my number one concern is I want to be low miles and not modified. Low miles, unmodified. Second generation, ideally. And I was willing to settle. He said, hey, Steve, I found you a second generation that's blue with a white stripe, and it's got 20,000 miles. I said, sure, close enough, And he goes, no. And this is, again, Mark Lieberman from Nostalgic Motoring. And he buys and sells cars as a car dealer, but also as a broker. And people will come to him and say, Mark, I'm looking for such and such. Can you find it for me? And he does an amazing job. And he's found cars for me. He's found cars for my friends. He's found cars for my clients. And I'm always like, so he goes, give me your exact specifications. I'll get as close as I can. So I said second generation, red, no stripe, untouched, low mileage. And he called me back that day and said, I found you a first owner of the car, second generation, red, no stripe, 4,000 miles. Every single thing I asked for. So arguably, the only thing that would have been better is you found one with less than 4,000 miles on it, which ain't gonna happen for a car that old. I said, how much do you want for it? And he told me, and I said, well, I told him what my budget was. And the budget was just a tad below what the guy wanted for the Viper. And Mark said, don't worry about it. Part of my job also is to negotiate you a good price. I said, really? He said, yep, not a problem. And Mark called me back and goes, I got it done. So Mark had it delivered to his shop in an enclosed trailer, went through it from front to back, and tossed me the keys, and there you go. And in fact, I just remembered, I don't know if I've ever shown the footage of the car being offloaded from its trailer at Mark's place, but I do have a video that's someplace. I can't remember if I shot with my phone or I think I shot with a GoPro. So I've got footage of that somewhere. So I'll dig that out and post it here somewhere during one of these dead spots. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And occasionally people say, Steve, what are some of the oddities about that car? And I go, what's some oddities? Like, for instance, this visor right here cannot be put over here. It's attached on both sides. Why is that? Don't know. A lot of things on the Viper were done because they were simpler and easier. And I suspect that to make a little catch here, then a hinge over here, somebody said, screw it. Just learn to go like this. Likewise, I've seen people complain that the hood can be opened from the outside. It doesn't have an under-dash hood release that's required to be used to open the hood. So theoretically, anybody can walk up the car and pop the hood. And I mean, I wouldn't want someone doing that, but I've never had anybody try to do that. And plus, you have to know what you're doing, so I'm not that worried about it. I've mentioned before that I did make one modification to this car. And the modification, if you don't want to count these, this Viper strap is a modification, but these come right off, is I had the seat lowered. I'm 6'2", and when I first bought the car, my head was uncomfortably close to the ceiling, to the roof. So I got in the car. I'd driven one of these cars years ago. I said, Mark, you know, it seems that this roof is awfully low. Is it possible to lower the seats on there? And he said, yeah, absolutely. It's actually a known thing that people often want to modify their Vipers to lower the driver's seat. And I said, oh. And he goes, yeah. He goes, they make a kit for it. And you have a choice. One kit lowers it 2 inches, but locks it in place. Or the other kit lowers it 1 inch, but allows you to slide it back and forth. And I said, well, no one else is driving my Vipers. I'll take the 2 inches, please. And so about a week after I bought the car, I brought it back into Mark's shop on a Saturday afternoon. And he and I sat there and did this. And it's kind of funny because we took a break at one point because he had just acquired a couple Honda Mini Trails. And so we ripped around the parking lot a little bit on those to cool off. This is a warm day. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. We're late in November. We're in Michigan. You know, the weather's not calling for it, but we've had snow this early where I am. So this snow is always a possibility, you know. But the car will go into a heated garage, covered, trickle charger, and it should be all set. So when I break it out in the spring, it'll be like a brand new car. As my dad used to say, it'll shine like a brand new diamond. Actually, he still says that. I'm pretty sure he still says that. So, oh boy. But this thing has adjustable pedals. It's one thing you can adjust on the car. And so I might actually adjust the pedals up just a tiny little bit. Because I know that Mark said they put them all the way down as they're adjusting the clutch and stuff. And I'm feeling like I'm extending a little bit there at the bottom. But we'll see. Yeah, but all the gauges look fine. In case you're curious, this thing runs about a little over 60 pounds on the oil pressure gauge. And we're doing 60 miles an hour in 5th. Let's go ahead and put that in 6th. And 60 miles an hour in 6th, we're spinning about 1,200 RPM. I mean, barely. I mean, it's there. That's idling. We got a lot of room left there if we ever chose to use it. So, anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up now because I've pretty much talked myself silly. But I will post this when I get a chance. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this video here, over here, I hope that I can turn that right side up. And I hope this camera here got me doing something semi-interesting if the sound is okay. So we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.